Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So for today's topic, I thought that after spending about 70 hours in game and having many playthroughs, that it would be a good idea to share my thoughts on it. Before we start, please note that this game is still under development and currently in early access version 0.3. The developers are working hard on it and releasing constant updates with new improvements such as quality of life, adding new businesses and so on. So my thoughts will be based on the current game state. As you probably know by now, Big Ambitions is a business simulation game with role-playing elements set in a fictional New York where the goal is to become the best businessman possible. You can rent or buy property in the form of offices, retail stores, residential buildings and warehouses. You can buy different vehicles and each have their own specs, cargo capacity and features. You can also customize your character to an extent, choosing a different hairstyle or color, clothes and facial expressions. But at the end of the day, none of that matters as much since the focus will be on effectively revenue managing businesses, making decisions and looking to a continuous expansion with the goal of becoming the best. The city feels vast, especially when the player has the ability to own virtually everything, with the exception of a few NPC buildings that are necessary for the gameplay, such as banks, hospital, wholesaler stores and similar others. Recently, with the 0.3 update, the city's atmosphere has improved by adding pedestrians in the streets, walking around doing various activities. At times, the traffic can misbehave, but for the most part, it is an enjoyable experience. There are no traffic rules except for parking, which needs to happen in designated places, but those are found pretty much everywhere. Failure to park in a designated place will bring in return a parking ticket, but that is pretty much the extent of it. There is no punishment for speeding or having accidents other than having your vehicle's health reduced. As you can imagine, creating a business and all the aspects relating to this is the game's strongest point. This is where the player will spend the most time. In general, the businesses are designed well, each having their own unique items, some of which are mandatory for the business to run, while others are purely aesthetic, giving the player the opportunity to use their own imagination and creating an aesthetically pleasing construction. Further to this, there are several apps that are advantageous to use, such as Market Insider, which offers the player the ability to evaluate the market based on specific areas of the city. Some areas have a stronger working class, while others can be on the other side of the scale, being mostly upper class, but there are also middle grounds as well. Using the tools offered by the game, the player can make a more educated decision which will impact the profitability of the businesses. As a businessman, the player has the option of hiring people or working for themselves as well. However, the second option is not really doable, as you will spend most of the time driving through the city, scouting new buildings and finding new opportunities. Which brings me to my next point, game state. Throughout the game, you will find that buildings change status. Some may begin as being already owned, but as the game progresses, those businesses might close, offering you the opportunity to rent that building for yourself. If you are impatient, you can also buy the business out, but as of update 0.3, you will need a lot of money to do so. The developers are constantly working on releasing new features and are in contact with their player base through a forum where your suggestions can be seen. You can also vote for any ideas that you believe are good and should be implemented in the next update. I believe this is a great gesture from the developers, because not only are they keeping their community up to date, but they also take ideas from them and implement them in the game, improving the overall experience. In my opinion, sleeping to fast forward time is one of the best features of this game. A good chunk of the early gameplay will be sleeping. Perhaps you have scheduled the delivery of items for your store for the next day and you cannot wait. Or your character has no energy left, or maybe you need more money to create your next business, in which case a few extra days fast forwarded are a blessing. So you may ask, what's next? The beginning of the game is the most fun in my opinion. Selecting a business, renting out a space, hiring employees and assigning shift schedules are all fun and contribute to the feeling of being a businessman. Soon, you get into the deep end of bypassing the wholesalers and going straight to the import-export companies, which in turn has other requirements that you will need to take care of. But after owning 2 stores that are profitable, there isn't that much to do. Having enough capital to open more businesses will simplify things by a significant amount, which will help further increase your profits. Soon, expanding will become second nature, and the game will become a bit dull. You may rent one or several expensive apartments or drive the most luxurious cars, but the fun element is slowly fading. Setting up a business from the ground up is by far a lot more fun and interesting than clicking buy on a building and getting rent as profit from it. But don't think this is another 1 week of fun type of game. As mentioned in the beginning, this is still an early access, and the best part is that the developers are listening to their community and applying their suggestions to the upcoming updates. With each update, you get something more. The game feels more alive, it improves. The map expands, and so are the business types, vehicles, and other quality of life changes. Is it worth buying? Absolutely. I will recommend it to anyone who enjoys these construction type games. It's fun, enjoyable, the customizations are great, and there's a blueprint workshop functionality so you can share your stores with your friends and the community. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope it helped your decision making towards this game. See you in the next one.